Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andane,
Hey, everybody.
Atheros,
I am also here.
Draculetta,
Greetings, everybody.
Rexwolf,
Hello, Lotro.
Sithrith,
Hello.
and returning to us tonight, Mystery.
Hey there, I'm not a ghost.
What happened, Mist? You've been gone for like an obnoxious amount of time.
It's quite
Yeah,
waiting for the
Spooky.
iPhone.
No, I don't touch Apple. I just got really sick, and just when I thought I was getting better, I got something else. And then when I thought I was getting over that, no, not likely. So I haven't been able to eat or breathe for about 2 months.
Wow. Well, we're glad you're better, and we're glad you're back on the show.
Yay! It's good to be back, though don't ask me anything because I know nothing.
All right, very well. Then we will have to educate you tonight.
Yes, I'm here to be educated. That's why
Right.
I'm here.
And specifically
wrong
to educate
place.
you, we have two guests with us tonight. And everyone, please welcome Merrick and Golden Star from CSTM.
It's Golden Star and Merrick.
Yay!
We're back. You can't get rid of us. Like us.
You came here for a festival guide, right? No.
Yeah, we totally did.
Oh, but there's the Shipwreck Mariner of Frodo and Bilbo's birthdays coming up next week. There's stuff to do.
Right, very well. So, could you please tell us how you got into LOTRO and how you got into the community? And what are you doing currently?
So we started, well, we actually had beta accounts. We're founders, lifers, all that good stuff. I wanted to play it really bad because I loved the books. I was a total Tolkien nerd, and he does whatever I tell him to do.
Pretty much.
And I really wanted to play like a true Hobbit because I think we were playing things like EverQuest and where you can be a halfling. Like, what? That is not a Hobbit, people. No. So I was super excited to be like an actual Hobbit in the Shire. That was sold for me. So we played for a little bit. We were actually on the Gladden server. Is that right?
Yes.
And we were on the Gladden server. We had a bunch of friends who were playing, and all our friends left. And then we kind of were like, log in and crickets, and we were sad, and we played violins, and then we logged out. So we left, and we played WoW because that's where all our friends went. And then we were like, you know what? We really don't love it here. So we came back to LOTRO and moved our characters from Gladden to Landreval because I wanted the RP environment. And again, he does whatever I tell him.
Yeah.
And our characters on Gladden were actually Golden Star and Merrick. And then when he moved his character, he wasn't allowed to have the name Merrick. Somebody already had it.
Darn person.
They still have it.
They probably still have it, yeah.
So it was like we started the blog and podcast because we carpool. We work for the same company and we carpool to work. And it's like a 45 to an hour drive. And we were just talking nonstop about the game. And we're like, but like at the time when we started, which was like 2009 is when the podcast started, there was no real podcasts out there.
We also, there were a couple. Like there were LOTRO Reporter and there was
LOTRO Reporter was
LOTROcast.
there, but they weren't active because they were on a summer hiatus or something.
Yeah, everybody just happened to be taking a break at the time that we
So
started
there was
listening.
no new content. There was podcasts, but no new content. So we kind of were like, we're gonna try this. Why not? We don't know what we're doing, but we can try this. And if you listen to our first podcast, it is fairly obvious that we did not know what we were doing. But we really liked it. The blog itself, I think we intended it first to be just a place to post our podcast. I don't think we intended it to be what it ended up being, which was me talking at people all the time and
Yeah.
people contributing all the time. And it grew to be this great community hub that I wish I could tell you was on purpose, but it was not.
No.
It just kind of organically grew that way. And we were very, very lucky that we had the support we did to do that. Anything to add?
Oh no. Well, let's see. What else can we throw out there? No, I mean that covers most of it. We played for what, 2 years? I mean, we did 2 years of podcasting, and then I don't know. Just when we had.
What are you talking about? We did more than 2 years of
Yeah,
podcast.
Did
you
we do
guys
3
did
years?
at least 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
3
had
years,
200
200
episodes.
so
That's almost 4
episodes.
years.
Okay.
It's almost 4.
But just life just got too busy,
Well,
and
and the
we
thing
stopped.
is, when we started, Baby Hobbit was actual Baby Hobbit. She was 4 months old when we did our first episode, and they don't do much at that age. They eat, sleep, and poop.
Right.
So, not that she wasn't the joy of our lives, she still is, but she didn't. She as long as we were taking care of her basic needs at that time, she was a happy camper. Things just got way busier, and I can't even imagine. Okay, I have to tell everybody right now, Baby Hobbit is a kindergartner.
Yeah.
She is not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
She is a school ager. So, and now that she's bigger, we can do so much more stuff. So like what we're doing now is, we're barely gaming. I'm pretty more into the mobile stuff that I can play on the commute in, because Merrick chauffeurs me in.
Right.
And so I can do whatever I want on my tablet while he's driving me to work. So I play a lot on my iPad now. I still play LOTRO weekly at a minimum. I'm playing Monday night still with my static 6-man dumb group. But other than that, like PC gaming is hard for us now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're never home. Is what I feel like. And we're pretty busy. Our schedule is like Monday we have to do this, and we joined karate together. We're all
taking to karate.
taking karate now. And that is not a joke.
Right?
Well, we're real karate people.
Yeah. So that's 2 days a week too, and that I don't know. I miss doing the podcast.
I do too.
I don't miss trying to keep up on everything.
I honestly do miss it. I think it's the community though, because we had such a great group of people that was there, and then we had all that feedback from all the people that would listen, and we had a fantastic community, and that's what I miss. But I don't think that anybody would listen if I didn't know half of what was going on. I think they would be like, yeah, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah. I mainly game playing Hearthstone now on iPad and on PC, and there's like 8 emotes. You can't talk to somebody unless you friend them, and still the community's terrible.
What do the 8 emotes?
Wow.
It's so bad. It's like you can't like, you say good game, and like you expect a good game back, and they're like thanks, and you're like, what? Why are you such a turd?
Wait a minute. Hold on. So they say thanks, and you're like, that guy's a turd.
Because that's like the
That's the
universal
equivalent
turd response.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's the Hearthstone turd response. Is what it is. I mean,
It
literally,
could be
that's
a
what
lot
it's
worse.
known.
Like, if they had a chat, it'd be awful, but I'm glad they don't.
Like, I've had people who, when they're going to lose and they can see it within several turns, they'll just sit there instead of ending their turn. Just
Yeah.
like hoping that I'll quit or something like that. And it's just like, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to win. You don't need to be a jerk about it. But yeah, I miss the community so much.
Oh, I know. The LOTRO community is amazing.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible out there. People, stay in LOTRO.
Don't go. Don't go anywhere. This is the place to be.
Now, speaking of LOTRO and the community that you built, I'm wondering how many of our hosts here got their start with the CS2 community? Because I know that my first contact with being a member of the larger community per se was during right after the first anniversary of CSTM. So I was wondering how many of the others here got their start with CSTM.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wrote for CSTM, so obviously I got my start through them, and definitely have a huge thanks for them. And LOTRO players as a whole would not exist if there was a CSTM still pumping out content. We just tried to fill in the void that was left by doing the best we could. But it's absolutely amazing. I think Drac found the community through CSTM because I remember seeing comments in Brax as well. And I think
Yeah,
Mist probably
I started
too.
because CSTM stopped, basically. And I thought somebody has to do
Oh,
something.
thank you.
Us stopping it produced so much good. Us being complete quitters gave all of this bounty to others.
Well, I'm looking at the chat room, and I probably recognize 99% of the names still. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Either
it-
through
can't-
listening or other things. Like, and I still watch like the LOTRO feed, like the Pound LOTRO, and follow Turbine and everything still. So I still see things every once in a while. Like I saw a picture of Fredolist near his book stand the other day that was tweeted out from the Bilbo Baggins' birthday, I think it was.
Well, birthday's not till the 22nd.
Or
Yeah, the event started
some
already
kind
though.
Oh, did it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
much cooler than
Merrick had to fix my computer. It wasn't working.
yeah, which was much cooler than what was it? The 2-minute timer thing that they had, like the
What was that?
what was it that they first gave out for his birthday?
Don't they still give out the musical crackers?
Yeah, the musical cracker, but it had like a 3-minute or 5-minute time.
And all it did was.
Really? Why does it have several minute timer on
Here's
that?
your
I mean,
several minute honking machine.
Well,
Like,
would
I
you
can
want
understand
someone
the-
constantly doing it?
no, I don't. But it was like 5 minutes. Really? I was like, wow. It's like it's not. I mean, I guess it's annoying, but I guess the developer was like, I hate this thing by now. It's just like 5 minutes. That's it. So. And then I also heard about like how the horseshoe. The horseshoe was finally revealed, and I rolled my eyes at that and like, really? That was the big deal?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
It was a womp womp.
What a
womp.
terrible thing.
And
Well,
did
you
you
were-
actually expect
were-
it to do anything?
Well, he was more upset about it than
I was
anything
just
else.
that whole attitude about it
He
was just
hated the whole idea.
like it does what it's supposed to. We're secret, and then the reveal was kind of like we told you what it did a long time ago. I'm like, well, that's really
You know, and I saw that post where they're like, "We've told you what this was a long time ago," and I'm like, I follow you guys pretty darn closely, and I missed it, so I'm pretty sure that other people are gonna miss it too. Like, I don't know where you posted this, but I am constantly looking at your stuff, and I missed it. So
yeah. It's just kind of like, well, it's a very podcast inappropriate response to that. So there you go. That's you could have at least made it the reveal better. Or maybe I would have changed it before I told you what it did. Like, oh yeah, I did that all the time.
just make it all of a sudden disappear. Yeah, like this is how bad the dumbs are. Because I used to like read all the release notes and know everything was going on. I could be able to give the dumbs a heads up of like something's coming, you know, or everybody leave your client open because we're getting a patch today. And now I'm just absolutely clueless. And in fact, like it was a couple of months ago that, you know, it was, I was in the habit because I am such an old player of like, I need to go for refill my travel rations. And I went to the provider. I'm like, well, maybe it was the supplier. So I went to the supplier and there's nothing. And so I asked the dumbs and the dumbs were like, oh, I haven't bought any in a while either. I better go look. And so everybody's looking at the vendors. And then the thing that just blew our minds is Dummy Dumb, the one who doesn't pay attention to anything, actually knew the answer. He was all like, they took those out like months ago, guys. And we're like, nah, come on. No. He's like, for real. We're like, how do you know this? We don't understand what's going on right now. The world is upside down.
It's bad when Dummy Dumb knows something because Dummy Dumb didn't understand the difference between need and greed when they
Right.
first discussed it.
Dummy Dumb is the need and greed confusion guy. He was like, well, I didn't want it, so I hit need.
Yeah, I didn't want it, so I hit
I
need.
didn't want
When
it, so I
needed
hit need.
greed. What I do want it, I hit greed, and everybody's just like, what?
He was completely backwards, and we're like, we don't understand this logic.
If you need it, you hit need. But
Well-
he's a good guy. He's a super nice guy.
He's a super.
That's opposed to the people in WoW who hit need and say, "Well, I need the money."
Or I need it for my alt.
I need to
Yes.
I hated that.
That was my favorite.
I'd be like, well, I need it for this character that was actually here and killed the boss. So
Or the
So-
people who
Alright.
get to like the second boss. That's the boss that drops their thing, and then when they're done, they just drop
oh
out.
yeah, they drop out. They're like, well, didn't get my thing. Bye.
And everybody's like, wow, great.
So we're only about 15 minutes in the show, but I think we can already give you the Make Pineleaf Laugh the most in a single episode award.
That's some pretty good pine leaf laughs going right now.
There are some pretty good Pineleaf laughs going on there, so.
And people do love the pine leaf laugh.
As they should.
Yeah.
As they should.
We're here to serve the people.
Let's go into the game news. What little of it there is. And the biggest news is that 14.2 has been released. And the biggest
Everybody
thing
knows what it is.
14.2 is that emeralds are now green.
Woo!
Whoa.
That is awful.
For Pineleaf, that might be the biggest news.
That was the biggest thing.
And it
That's
only
what?
took them how long to fix that?
Yeah.
Dead
Like the
marshes.
gem itself in game is the color green, or the
Yeah,
what?
yes, for the
Yeah.
first
The
time.
icon
it was
wasn't.
red for the last 10 months.
Oh yeah, they were red. Couldn't remember.
They were reusing the textures from the previous tier, which were, I think, something red. I
Huh.
don't know what they were called, but they reused it and it didn't really work.
Yeah, it really didn't work all that well. And now they actually have golden pears instead of red small pears like they had before.
You mean apples?
Actually, they were cherries last time.
Oh yeah.
So now they finally have pears and the proper items for there, and thank goodness for that. And of course, he also added the dead marshes.
Yeah, that's like content stuff.
I like how
no,
he just
this
adds
is
that
still
in as the
side
last
thing.
thing.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
and
there's also a
also?
new
Okay.
area.
Yeah, also.
I think the real true thing here is that Pineleaf is just trying to confuse American Golden Star as much as possible. Like the big news was this Emerald thing came out, but
I
you
was
know
on
there
board.
was
Let's fix the emeralds.
there was
Yeah, no
this
kidding.
Dead Marshes thing, you know.
Honestly, the bigger
You know,
news
and
for
I'm
me is
so
that-
out of it too. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the biggest news for me is that it doesn't take me a million years to log in.
Oh,
Yay.
Yeah, they have
I'm
a
so out of it that my golden star, like my burglar, my dumb burglar, is now like a level ahead of a golden star. Like my
Oh,
dumb
good
burglar.
grief.
I know. The slowest leveler group in the world, the dumbs, has surpassed my main.
Oh. Well, you have to get out there cracking.
Time to skirmish
Well,
with
I
Pineleaf.
seem to have lost my questing buddy, aka the guy who did everything while I danced in the background.
Right.
That's what you did when he were supposed to be healing him?
Right, and he be died. I'm like, well, I can res you, so it's fine, right? Go back out there. You're fine.
Need to work on that deed anyway.
Yes.
Right. Chop
Man.
chop.
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty cool. I might have to go check that out.
Yeah, so therefore, well, first you got to level high enough in order to do Western Gondor content, because it's level 100 content for the Dead Marshes.
That'll take a while.
Nope. Well,
I'm out. Never mind.
we can go check it out. Like, we'll just have to like dodging for our lives the whole time. It'll be an adventure.
That's true.
Well,
I'm willing
yes,
to check it
but-
out.
But the Dead Marshes aren't directly connected to the landscape, so I think you'd probably have to be level 100 to maybe even get the quest.
Yeah.
Or at least close to it, yeah.
Or at least close to it, yeah. All right.
Well, aren't
so-
you just Debbie Downer, Pineleaf?
Yeah, right now I'm just sad. I'm
all
just
right.
sad.
That's
Sorry
cool, though.
about-
That's pretty cool.
You make
Anybody
him
else
laugh,
have
he makes you
anything?
cry.
Wow.
I'm pretty into the collections thing. It's a pretty cool system.
So
Yeah.
I
explain
dig
this
it.
collections thing to me. Can you tell me what's going on?
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like they took meta deeds and they gave them a separate window system thing, is like the short of it. Basically, if you collect certain mounts, like there's one for if you collect all the 4 like spring, summer, fall, and winter horses, like for each season or whatever, Like if you collect all 4 of the spring horses, you get a title. I think it's like Spring Flinger or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I think
probably have that.
I think the
Yeah,
main
you
thing
probably
of
have all those.
So I'm on board. Let's do this. Collections. I can do this. Is this all there
Yeah.
are?
There's like the festival horses for the seasons. There's one for getting all of the class steeds, which is kind of weird because it's like you have to buy all those horses.
That's the worst.
That's kind of
That's up.
yeah,
that's a
that's
big
not great. But there's there's ones for pets too. Like if you collect all the chicken pets, you get a title, something about hens. I don't remember.
Oh, she's
but
in
it's
now.
the
She's
cool-
totally back in.
Oh.
The cool part about the window though is that it doesn't just like list what you have to get, and like you can click on the names of the horses or pets or whatever you have to collect, and it shows you what the horse or pet looks like, so you can preview what they look like before you get them, and also it tells you underneath the picture where and how to get them. So that's a step up from the deed window.
And if you don't even have the steed or pet or whichever, you can even like still drag the you can drag the skill from the collections panel into your hotbar. So you can be like, whenever I get that steed, I'm going to use S4 and it's going to be awesome because I'll be able to get that mount. And so they've just done a lot of just like polished things and made it a lot easier to visually see horses and pets that you can collect, which is fantastic.
Yeah, tell me where to get them. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, how do you get the collections panel to appear?
Oh, Shift C.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Shift C. Or you could put it into one of your regular bars if you want, if you have a spot open.
Yep, that's a possibility too.
Right. I noticed that when I came in, all my characters, I don't have a single one of those up. Then I log into Pine Leaf when full, and then I get all these deeds scrolling across saying, you've completed this one, you completed this one, you completed this one.
So is it kind of like just an achievement? Do you get anything for
You get a
this?
title.
A title.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty cool. Like if you get the 2 Rohan horses, you get like your name, comma, rider of Rohan, which is pretty cool. Trying to think. There's another one that I really like, but I can't even remember
I
what.
think if you collect the swans, you get honorary swan knight.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
First, we have to be able to get that black swan.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yes. All
How
right.
do you get the black swan?
Well, I think first the server has to unlock the Paths of the Dead. And have any servers successfully done that yet?
Oh, so we're still waiting on step
Probably
1.
at this point.
Yeah, I think Windfall had ours unlocked.
Oh, did it?
Oh, okay. They must have done it
sure.
very recently then, so
Yeah.
I better get on there and do those quests.
I'm behind the loop. I'm out of it.
Yeah, I was busy in the dead marshes, so I didn't. So I wasn't checking to see whether it's been unlocked the last couple of days. So it looks like it must have unlocked.
Chat room
very
saying
recently.
Landerville's unlocked. Yeah.
And
All right.
Villia as well,
Yeah, not
too.
surprising. I would
All
imagine
right.
if Windfall has got it, then a lot of other servers do as well.
Yeah, so it looks like they're all getting unlocked now. And so that's step 1. Now you've got to be able to do quests for the Swan Knights, and then you'll start to get the tokens you need in order.
It's a long process.
Okay,
It's basically
what I'm
what you need to
gathering
know.
is there. Yeah, so I'm basically hearing that I have to grind dailies to get a pet.
That's
it!
Part of the new
I'm
LOTRO endgame.
seriously torn because I love pets, but I do not love dailies. This is something that I would typically have Merrick do for me if he would actually log into the damn game.
Well, there's your first problem.
Right?
All right. Anyone else have any favorites for the 14.2 update? I suppose not, so then we'll go on to the other news for this week. Store sales. Drac?
Do you remember that really good store sale we had last week?
Yeah, I knew it couldn't last.
Let's all think back to the good times that we had. The only thing good about the store sale this week is the free sample, which is the Essence Reclaimed Scroll. Use the coupon code ESS775, ESS775. And once again, as always, you get one of those per account. Also, through the 21st, which would be tomorrow for the live listeners in the chat room, if you use coupon code CT3014, CT3014, you will get 30% off your entire cart. You can use that twice per your account.
Ooh.
So that's good too. As for the sale, now 30% off stat tomes, regeneration food, run speed boost, and plus 5% attack damage. So basically, it's a Hobbit present sale.
Well, stat tomes don't come up
I'm going to
that
say
often.
minus the stat tomes that often. I have got them out of there, but it's very rare and it's only the gold.
Right, but the regeneration food, which is Dale Men's,
Just
the Dale
Crown.
Krantz.
if you're
Yeah.
going to buy anything, maybe stat tomes. Don't buy any of the other stuff. It's a waste of turbine points.
Right. All right. So now then we will go into the news here at LOTRO Players. And the big news this week is that we're moving. Andang, what's this all about?
Well, we decided that basically LOTRO Players has grown quite a bit, and to keep growing into the Players Alliance, we're moving off Middle-earth Network, and in fact, we actually have already built our whole new site, and as of earlier this afternoon, we finally got it mostly how we want it. It was a ton of work. I'm not going to lie, it was a lot of work. But thankfully we finally did get it moved over, and this will allow us to basically continue to grow and create DDO players and some of the other sites that we hope to in the future. And yeah, it's a move. Basically, all the real only big change that our audience will notice is that we're at a different URL. So now it's lotroplayers.com instead of lotroplayers.mymiddleearth.com. So yeah, that's what's going on. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Probably not, but
Changing a lot of
Congratulations.
links.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many links.
Yes, we're still going through LOTRO Players News show notes trying to correct all those links. Oh my goodness.
Are you still affiliated with Middle-earth Network or no?
We're thinking about it. We're not sure. We're definitely going to still work with the founders at Middle-earth Network for sure. Middle-earth Network is an awesome network, and without them and CSTM support, we definitely could not have grown the way we have. So we're definitely gonna stay in touch for sure with them.
All
Okay.
right then.
I just want to say congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And
Didn't
now
you already
comes
have
the scary-
lotroplayers.com, or was I imagining that?
Yep, we did, but we were using the .mymiddleearth domain for our homepage. So basically, it was just
We
forwarding.
wish we weren't.
We wish we weren't now.
Yes.
But yeah, that's what we were doing. So now we're just at lotroplayers.com. So yep.
So the chat room is talking about all the new sites that we are going to create. Fredowis says we're going to have Minesweeper Players Alliance.
Minesweeper Players Alliance.
Zinger says the Chili Players Alliance.
And I know
And
that Sithrith came up with an idea before the show.
Cat
And
players.
it's been talked about in the chat room as well.
Well,
Yeah, I
the
think we should
rogue players.
We should extend a formal invitation to American Golden Star to be the lead directors of Hearthstone players.
Okay, so if you want like someone who knows what they're talking about, you want Merrick, because he just tells me things and I help him pick the pretty cards.
Yeah.
So
You got to start
well,
somewhere.
And I think that you probably would be better off with Merrick and Baby Hobbit, because Baby Hobbit is way into Hearthstone way more than I am, and But it's adorable because she'll call things by the names because she can't read yet. She's only 5. She'll call things by the noises they make. So she's like, I'm going to play my card Tazdingo.
Yeah.
So then he goes, Tazdingo.
Yeah, she judges them by prettiness, not by playability.
Yeah, she's like, I have a golden tiger.
That's pretty much how I play. I mean, makes sense.
It sounds crocky. Okay, Daddy doesn't need more hairspray, baby. Come here.
Wow.
She's
Yeah.
got an emergency kit, and she's here to assist us. You want to say hi to people?
Hi.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey.
Okay. Back to being an emergency helper. Thank you.
Kindergartner Hobbit, I guess.
Yeah, kindergartner Hobbit.
A kinder hobbit.
Yeah.
A kinder hobbit. Oh, that's cute.
Oh,
I like that.
I just remember because I just remember that Kinder is the name of halflings in Dragonlance.
It's true. Oh, that's perfect. We just basically called her a hobbit.
Yes. All right. So now we'll head on to our poll. Ending. What was our poll last week?
Let me check. I was not prepared.
Oh.
When-
So
I
I'm going to tell you. I will
I
say
have
the
to say, 'cause
question.
just for someone who used to do weekly polls, how hard is it for you to come up with a question every week?
Pretty hard.
Right. It's harder than you think, right?
It's easier if you create them ahead of time, and thankfully some other people have been like, hey, you should totally do this poll this week. If I was just doing it by myself, we would have ended this segment a long time ago, probably.
After a while, I'm like, how many types of cheeses do you have in your fridge right now? I'm out of things, guys.
That might be next week's poll now. Okay.
There you go.
So everybody starts stocking up on cheese.
So this week's poll was,
Winner.
when did you start playing LOTRO? And the top answer with 105 votes was 4 years ago, or free to play. Followed closely, well, kind of closely, about half, 57 votes, 7 years ago with Shadows of Angmar launch. That's
Wow.
pretty crazy. And then 3 years ago with Rise of Isengard comes in next with 38 votes. And then a few others. Original Shadows of Angmar beta actually had 10% of the vote at 35 votes, which is pretty crazy that people have been playing LOTRO for that long and still active enough in the community to seek out a fan site. That's pretty amazing. And then another surprising thing was at the very bottom, 17 votes that they started playing this year with Western Gondor. So welcome to those people.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was this week's poll, Pineleaf.
Yeah. Now, it was hard for me to tell when I was trying to come up with my answer on if you were between, let's say you were between the
Yeah.
launch of Shadows in Angmar and Mines of Moria, do you answer
Well,
which one
I
you
put
then you
answer?
go
launch,
by the
just 'cause I was
year
closer
that's
to
in
launch
parentheses. I'm guessing, or which one's
Yeah.
closer.
I
either
went
one.
by the year since mine was a little bit more than 7 years ago, but not quite on launch date.
All right.
Yeah.
All right then. With our next item is Guide to the Revamped Misty Mountains. And this is by
One-
Eteocles.
Yes, it's a new rider that we have, Tokles Evernight, and he has all sorts of things planned. And the first thing is going through various guides of some of the revamped areas, and he's starting out with the Misty Mountains. And this is part 1 of his guide, and it talks about all the various things that were changed with the recent revamp. So it's pretty cool and has a lot of detail there. If you're curious about what has changed since then, maybe thinking about going back to the Misty Mountains, well, this will tell you what is different since the last time you were there, assuming it was before the revamp.
Now, is this part 1 of a series on various different realms, or is this part 1
This is
of the
part
Misty
1
Mountains?
of the Misty Mountains.
Okay.
It's very detailed.
Very detailed indeed. So if you want to know what's in the Misty Mountains today, that's where. Oh, yeah, I guess part 2 might include the Goblin Town and the like, since that's
Mhm.
going to be
Yep.
an area to go into. And of course, while we did not have a LOTRO Players Adventures this week, we did have one last week. Episode 32 cave acne, and that is a reference to those fumaroles which pop up during the instance that we're running.
Oh, gross.
And at Thalros naming them.
Yep.
Well, oh well. Yeah.
And this week we didn't have LOTRO Players Adventures because of the site move. We're not that crazy. We're not
We
gonna
are
do all that
sometimes,
stuff.
but not this week.
True, we are sometimes like fellowship walk weeks and stuff like that, but this week not so much.
All right, very well. And this week's poem is by Ali, who is talking about his kinship, the Casual Raiders. So let me welcome you to Casual Raiders, the defenders of Middle-earth against the invaders. Not too long ago, we were only 2, but then more people joined us and our troops grew. We promoted raiding, yet still being casual players, raiding at night and by day, perfecting our skills and slayers. We accept everyone who wants to come. We're not elitists. All playstyles are welcome. We don't care about your allies or gear. Respect is given no matter what you wear. So have no fear and join our ranks, all the warriors, healers, and tanks. We promise always to respect you. We do not ever need to inspect you. You can be a hardcore raider or a trophy collector. Just be friendly to all, and that's the main factor. Slowly and steadily, we became a large kin. Now we rarely pug, but instead have fun within. We are social and active and have a great reputation, and TeamSpeak and KinHouse and website for more information. Come be a part of a revolution, for life in Casual Raiders is never boring. Where the elves are elegant, men mortal, dwarves strong, and hobbits adoring. The Middle-earth is full of so many creatures in history and lore, with so many areas and mysteries to explore. So let me welcome you to Casual Raiders, the defenders of Middle-earth, against the invaders.
Kin plugs are cool when you put them in poems.
I like how he
I feel
incorporated.
like I should be snapping right now.
I like how he incorporated the word websites into the poem. You don't get that in many poems, I don't think.
Probably not.
He's a
I
talent.
like it.
He's a real
That
talent.
is very cool. And it fit perfectly for more information. That was awesome.
Yep, that worked quite well. And so therefore, if you're looking for a kin and are on the appropriate servers, which of course is always
Oh yeah.
Whatever
Keep-
that may be.
Keep stalling, Ponley. Keep stalling.
Yes, I was trying to remember what I checked a couple of days ago, and then I do remember the main one that I thought it was not a server that I'm usually on.
And therefore it doesn't exist. You heard it here first, people.
Right.
What? A server you
Not-
don't have wardens on? What?
What? All right.
I'll be honest, our goal each week
Rex,
is just
what's your pick
to
for
break
this
Pine
week?
Leaf.
I think we've broken Pine Leaf.
Okay. All right. So, interesting article over at Gamasutra this week, or Gamasutra, I guess, however you want to pronounce that. One of them is probably more close to the actual pronunciation of. Never mind. So the article is titled "When the Fun of Game Development Dies." And just a warning, it's not really LOTRO related, but it is pretty relatable to a lot of the things that we do on this site and a lot of our contributors do. And I thought it would be a good one to talk about while American Golden Star were on. It's by William Anderson, and basically it's talking about William Anderson is a developer who started out as a very big player, very big fan of video games. And the more he got into video games, the more he wanted to make it his life career, his life work to be a game developer. And what he's learned is that once you cross that line and the further you get into it, the more difficult it is to actually enjoy what was once your hobby. And he not only talks about that from a developer standpoint, but he talks about that from a blogger standpoint as well, because he's also a writer, obviously. He's in Gamasutra. So I know this is something we've batted around a little bit, and it's one of those things where I know American Golden Star, you really kind of skirted the line between hobbyist and professional journalism. You guys were pretty almost as far as deep into the actual LOTRO community as you could get. You guys were interviewing executive producers. You had Chance Thomas on your show. Was there a point where you guys kind of went, you know what, we've been doing this a while and we're so deep into this we almost can't enjoy it anymore?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was days where we're all like, it's Saturday again.
Yeah. Oh, it's 8:30.
I think we was at 9:30.
Yeah, but we're like it's counting down.
Right. Yeah, but I think that I think always when we were in the moment when we were doing the podcast, we weren't really like.
Yeah, we always enjoyed it.
I think that once we got
afterwards.
started, it was kind of like, and I think that too, as our life got crazier, and I felt like I was failing. You know what I mean? Because I was so busy at work. I was taking care of baby Hobbit and getting all that stuff all handled, and then I was like, oh no, we have the podcast tonight, and I'm totally not ready. I haven't read the show notes, and I haven't prepared this, and I haven't seen what's happened on the thing, and I have to go. And so I almost felt like I was failing, and I was going to let people down. Yeah, and yeah, I totally felt like it was more task oriented out of game rather than being able to just go in and play.
Yeah.
You know? So I felt that running the blog and the podcast really just kind of translate into, I'm going to log in and find out the mechanics of this thing and then write all about it and post it, but not really sit and enjoy this new thing is here.
Yeah, I think it's something that we all kind of struggle with. It's so natural to say, boy, I enjoy this so much. I'm going to try and take that next step and see if I enjoy it even more. And then all of a sudden you look and you're waist deep in it and you're like, I'm not enjoying any of this anymore, you know?
Yeah, and you see that. I mean, you see that in a lot of different podcasts too, where they get so involved with it, they feel like they have to apologize that they haven't played or haven't played as much, and I wish I could reach out to some of those people and just say, don't worry about it, just enjoy it. People aren't necessarily. I mean, unless you're like Twitch, broadcasting on Twitch, and all you're doing is broadcasting you like doing the dishes or doing your homework or taking care of your kids. Well, you probably need to go to a different site for that. But that I don't think you need to apologize for doing a podcast, because people, they're not coming in to really see you do like hardcore stuff. They're usually coming in for the relationship you have with your co-host or your ability to speak. And the only time that they're really coming to listen to you do something hardcore is if you're talking about a specific topic. But even then, you really don't have to be like, this is how you beat this raid or anything like that. I mean, that's stuff that some of the hardcore sites like WoW had, like Tank Spot.
We were not that, honey.
Yeah. Or
nobody was coming to us to figure out how to like beat the game.
And then there are some people who do other stuff. Like I know Rift had one that did hardcore stuff, but at the same time, you usually see those things really burn out pretty quickly if they're hosts of podcasts and they're doing all this time in game, because they kind of contradict each other. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't do it or you don't know about it. But I usually think that special guests are the best people for that kind of stuff. Like if you're into rating or things like that.
We don't know anything about this. Let's find out somebody who does.
And that's not to say that podcast hosts can't be, the best of the best. I just think that you don't necessarily have to.
I think they have to be knowledgeable. I don't think they need to be a master of everything.
Yeah.
There was no way I could have explained skirmishes better than Pine Leaf.
Exactly. I mean,
there is no way.
Finally,
and if I tried it, he would just have been very angry with us.
I mean, that's what made it awesome. And we had people who did things that they were specialized. Like Pine Leaf was, really good at, the Warden and at skirmishes. Kia was very good at decorating. I was good at pressing the wrong buttons on the podcast equipment. not starting the recording. That was a special thing.
That's a specialty.
But it's always important to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and you don't really need to apologize for it either. You can always, there's like 8 people on this Skype call right now. I mean, surely there's enough knowledge to go around.
Well, you don't want to. Yeah, nobody really wants to just come and listen to the same person drone on, either. I think that having guests and having experts come in makes sense, but at the same time, you can't just kind of be like, well, I'll just get experts and everything will be fine. Like, you have to have a passion and a general knowledge base of what's going on to understand it. Like, I'm perfectly okay asking dumb questions like, please explain collections to me. But they were able to explain it and I got it. Like, I understand what's
Right.
happening because I understand LOTRO. So yeah, I think there's perfect. You have to be passionate enough to do it, and you have to be knowledgeable enough to understand what's going on so you can explain it to a 5-year-old, for example. But yeah, you shouldn't feel guilty that you don't know it all.
And I'm gonna pick on Mystery for a second because she just said something in chat where she says, "Oh, I am the queen of dumb questions," I think. But she, that's one of the things I always liked LOTRO Academy for its different tact on what to do for a LOTRO podcast, where even if they weren't the experts on something, they'd still talk about it. They still delve into it, and even though Mystery didn't always feel like she was on top of stuff, I still think that still represents a lot of your audience that may not know about it and may ask these questions.
Right,
and I think
she was the one asking the questions.
I think that's great because the people listening to the podcast can't interact with you in real time. They can only ask, they can only do follow-up questions. And Mystery would ask a lot of questions that people would ask or that other people may have not thought about. And then you'd have special guests like Pine Leaf, who came in as a guest initially, and then you'd have other, and they even brought.
We had you too.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's an example of bringing on an expert of anything.
Yeah, you hit buttons. We're awesome. So,
and I'd just like to correct you from your not always knowing to never knowing. That would be more me.
Nah, but I mean, Braddock says there's no way we could compete with CSTM. See, I think that's you, and I think that's okay, Brannick, because I don't think that you want, podcasting is like, well, I know a lot of people get that, and we had that mentality at times too, where we were competing with like, LOTRO Academy, or not LOTRO Academy, but LOTRO Cast or LOTRO Reporter, and you got to remember, I like listening when I'm listening to a game podcast. I don't care,
right,
if they tell me the same news over and over again. I don't care about that. I don't care if you repeat the same stuff. What I care about is if you have a different take, because it's really easy to get into like the interview podcast where you give, your 10 seconds of what happened to you, and then you interview somebody for like 30 minutes. Or you do this is the news and this is what we did in the game podcast. But when you do something that's kind of
podcast, honey.
Well, I know we were, but I mean, that was our podcast. But I mean,
and we're basically saying that's the worst. Don't do
we're
that.
not saying I'm not saying it's the worst. I'm just saying it's very common. But when you get into something that's different, like you have 8 co-hosts, or you have a round table of people, or when you have because that does a big discussion, and you usually have the 2 people like us who did what we did in the news, but then we would try to do something a little bit different, and that's what I liked about LOTRO Academy, is that they did something different.
Yeah, the only advice I would have to anybody who'd ever want to make a podcast is don't lock down a thing and never change it. We got wonderful feedback from our listeners. We totally incorporated anything that we thought that would fit with us and what we could do. We tried some very stupid things that we never tried again. You just got to be a little fearless and be like, okay, we're going to try this. If you don't like it, let me know. We'll never do it again.
Right.
And I think you just need to be a little fearless with that. We tried that we weren't scared to do that with the podcast. We weren't scared to do that with the blog. Kia came to me and said, I want to do a fellowship walk. And I'm all like, that sounds like a lot of work. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But,
we tried to do
thanks for that.
We tried to do stuff with, the community. I think if you have a website that you tie into it, it really helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, and please don't take the whole we do our own thing and then we talk about the news as like a put down to any podcast whatsoever.
Like I said, we did that.
Yeah, it's just when you have like when you step into maybe a larger arena or like when you do something like listening to health podcasts. I've kind of stopped listening to it, even though I really still love health and fitness, because they're all like, here's what I did, this is what I found, well, now let me interview this quote unquote expert for the next 30 minutes, and you're just like, ah. And so you just, I mean, there's only so many of those you can listen to before you just kind of hang your head. And it's the same way with like technology or things like that. So
Yeah.
please don't take it as a
And
any kind of downside to what anybody's doing out there.
yeah, and I think just, taking listener feedback and changing up your show is also good for the hosts. It keeps them interested in the show because there's some new, different thing that they're doing. Even if you only do it for 1 week, I think that helps keep the show fresh. And, for like a few episodes after that, you still feel like that it was like, you did something new, and you just have that kind of vibe that goes. And I think there's always room for improvement, and sometimes that's adding new segments or trying different things out. And
Yeah.
I think that's definitely it can help make a stronger podcast. I think just as long as you're not trying something different every single week and confusing your audience.
Yeah, they're like, what is going
Right.
on?
I thought last week this was a gaming podcast. Now they're just talking about food. What's going on?
Sometimes
We've
Yeah,
had
people-
episodes-
way.
we had episodes like that. I think, LOTRO news gets we're slow. We're just like, so.
By the way, we still love stew. So there you go.
Stew and pie. I'll eat stew and pie till I die.
Speaking of
So,
pie,
yeah.
Drac,
Yes.
I believe that I believe you had some pie on Twitter today.
The pie has been eaten.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Pie.
Yeah, thanks
I'm
for
sure
sharing.
chat will be pleased.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So. It was good. In honor of them, I posted an apple pie that I ate. So there. And if you would be following me on Twitter, you too could have seen the
I did
apple
see it.
pie. Yeah, see?
I did see it.
I follow you on Twitter and I missed this pie.
I
was
do
pie.
too, and
Terrible.
I missed it.
Although I was confused with the whole sugar-free. Is that what it said on there?
Hey, it's what I have to do.
I'm,
It's a
I've
sacrifice you have to make for pie. Huh?
That's right.
I've always been a little. I've been tempted, but I've had some pretty awful sugar-free pie before. So.
I should
There-
start posting some good New Zealand meat pies.
There
Oh
is-
yes, you should.
Yes, you should.
They would be lamb, wouldn't they?
Yeah, there's pretty good lamb pies around here.
Mm.
You guys
Yeah.
love your lamb.
We sure do.
So just
There's a
so
house
everyone
full of hobbits
knows,
Like food.
so everyone knows, what we just did is we changed over to a food podcast. Just so everyone knows.
Specifically a pie podcast.
Like I said, we're not afraid to try something new.
Right.
We
A
came here to
piecast,
break your
if you will.
podcast, and then we are out.
Yes,
Pies
Well-
are LOTRO related, so it all fits, people.
There you go.
There
It's
you
not
go.
broken.
I've never seen an event in LOTRO where people didn't start discussing pies. I have to admit on that.
This is true.
Very well. Now, let's go news beyond LOTRO. And this week we have Team LOTRO Players has been formed for the Extra Life effort. And Brax, you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, sure. Everybody remembers about 3 weeks ago, I talked about doing the Extra Life Marathon this year, and had a good response to that, and created my account, and away we go. Well, since then, Pine Leaf and Drac have decided that they would also like to do the Extra Life Marathon, and in response to that, we went ahead and created Team LOTRO Players for the Extra Life. So the thing about the teams, this is confusing to some people, is that you don't have to all play together when you're on a team together. I mean, the team is basically more for fundraising together. So really, that team is wide open. Anybody out there who listens to LOTRO Players or reads the site can join our team and raise funds for Extra Life if you want to. If you want to do that, the web address is extra-laugh. Let me start. My show's recorded. I could just cut that out. extra-life.org/team/LOTRO players. And anybody out there can join that if you want to do Extra Life this year. I set a goal of $3,000 for the team, and that's really, really hefty. I mean, that's out there. We're going to need a lot of help if we're going to get to that. So I would encourage anybody who wants to play LOTRO for that 24 hours or whatever you want to do. The rules are very loose. You don't even have to do it for that 24 hours straight. I mean, it's basically play games for 24 hours, raise money for kids, pick your hospital, and off you go. So I wanted to give that update. The other update I wanted to give was my personal one is actually up to $240. So thank everybody who's donated to that. That is almost halfway to my $500 goal. So we're doing awesome there, and we've got about a month to go. So still a lot of time. I believe it's October, was it 25th?
October 25th.
October 25th, yep.
Yes.
Is that when it starts or finishes? Sorry.
That is when it starts.
That's the official day to do the game.
24-hour day?
Yeah, that's the official 24-hour day where you start. You can start whenever you want, usually.
Yeah.
You really can, but that's the official.
The official start time is, I believe, 8 a.m. Central Time is the official time in there, but...
Oh, God, that sounds like math.
8 a.m.
Central Time.
Central time. That's 9 a.m. our time.
Okay, got it.
Yes. I am most likely...
Real time.
I'll probably be starting around the official time, but I plan to do it over a 2-day period because otherwise I'll just fall asleep on top of my keyboard.
I'm gonna power through. I'm gonna do it. I feel like if I'm gonna do it, it's kind of like the ice bucket challenge. Put the ice in there, man. I'm not gonna do the warm water thing. Put the ice in, dump it over my head. Let's do it. 24 hours. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I did not do the ice bucket challenge. I wrote a check and sent it. I am that person. I was all like, nope. I don't need to put ice on my head to give money. That's what I decided.
You can do both, though. There's no rule against that.
Yeah, you could do both. I did not. I'm all about charity and I'm about helping people, but I am not all about ice on my head.
So Golden Star, I know you were thinking about doing Extra Life. You were toying with the idea. You can join our team if you like. It's out there.
I'm thinking about it for real. I think that what you saw was I was like, I'm kind of missing being involved in charities because we still donate, we still participate, we still give, but I kind of miss being in the middle and like feeling responsible for helping, not just being like, oh, here's some money.
I can give you something to do.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Can you swap people? Can like one person go and then the other person
like
go?
a relay?
Like Team American Golden Star.
I think you could. I think you could probably get away with that.
You'll be Merrick Star, yes.
Merrick Star!
Very different games would be played.
You're like, well, this is craft, so it's obviously Merrick.
Like you could, yeah, right. It's Hearthstone and then Rift and then LOTRO for 5 minutes when he figures out he hasn't played since the trait system got revamped, and he's like, man, I don't know what I'm doing here. That's a real story, by the way. I logged into Warden, I looked at it like, oh my lord, what am I doing?
I still don't know what I'm doing with my burglar. If anybody out there knows how to play a burglar now, I know it's been a long time since they changed all that. I still don't get it. I traded myself, and I go out there and I smash buttons, and the dumbs just kind of don't notice that I don't know what I'm doing.
I live it this way. If you look at any of my videos for the burglar section of my Skirmisher Middle Earth series, you will see that I don't know anything about the burglar either.
Now, Pineleaf has said...
It's like, why are dice going over your head? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm winning. So like the dumb started calling it, like if the dice go over my head, they go, best burglar ever! They'd shout.
You don't want the red dice, though.
I don't know what the red dice means. I'm assuming it's something bad.
Yeah,
is it like when you get an eye over your head and you have to run away from the group so you don't explode? I don't know. I have no idea.
Not that bad.
Just so everyone knows, when Pineleaf says he doesn't know how to play a class, that means he can't write like 6 guides on it. He still knows pretty well what's going on with the class.
He can only write 2,000 words instead of 4,000 words.
Exactly.
It's not quite where he wants it, right?
Yeah, so I am looking for a burglar instructor, Pineleaf, if you want to, help me, or just like give me a spec that and I've tried all of them. I'm now obviously on the dice one, whatever that one is.
That's similar.
Okay, yeah, and so I kind of don't really know what I'm doing.
I tend to do mischief, but that's because I think mischief works well with skirmishes when you've got all those mobs out there.
That's
But
a good point.
What would you
if
suggest
with
to
a
do
group-
for? Yeah,
if
what would
you're with a
for a group?
group,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like Quiet Knife. I would think I would take Gambler instead because I don't know, I was just never into Quiet Knife.
I did do Quiet Knife. I didn't love it. Mostly because we're the dumb group. They are not going to wait for me to sneak and do something. They're not going to just no. They're just not going to let me sneak. Our battle cry is let's go attack it with our face. So
In that case, you want Gambler.
okay. So I sound like I'm in the right spec. I just still don't know. I'm just going to pretend. I'm just going to keep pretending. It's fine.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know if I can't remember if they still give you that guide. This is a basic tutorial on how to use gambles. You read this guide and you say, "What?"
Right?
And I just had to eventually, by trial and error, figure out. All right, so this does this, and this one. Like, there are one or two of them where I think All In, for example, where it gives you this nice, really great buff, but if you don't kill someone, personally kill it. I mean, you can't have your friends. You've got to kill this one. Because if you don't, you get a heavy debuff on you for an equal amount of time afterwards when it expires.
Oh dear, I probably am doing that.
I think that's when you see the red die above your head. I think if your white die turns to red, it means your timer expired. If I recall correctly.
Fortunately, I'm the worst burglar ever. I'll just train the dumbs to yell that. Then I'll just do that.
Yes.
Now remember, Pineleaf doesn't know how to play as burglar, even though he gave all that advice just now. So
I'm
just
willing
keep
to
that in
take
mind.
it. I'm certain that Pineleaf is being more humble than he really is about this, and I am an idiot. So I'm going to take any advice I can get.
Well, I'm sure that there will be some viewer responses that could give you even better advice. So I would suggest that you read the responses from the viewers on this week's episode.
Okay, I'm counting on you, viewers. Don't let me down.
Anything else on either the burglar or on Extra Life?
No, we'll get back to we'll talk about a possible schedule and get back to you on it.
Like I said, I am interested, and I might as well join a team, right? That way, I'm.
There you go.
It's not all me.
Right.
And Brax,
Team of 3, so we could use a few more.
Brax, I need to talk to you about your team as well.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Stay after school.
To the office.
Yeah. So, yeah, stay back. We have to talk.
Okay.
Leave now while you can, Brax. Get out.
All right, very well. Then we'll go on to donations. And this week we did not receive any donations, but we would just love your support, especially since it's going to be more expensive for web hosting now that we're on our new site.
Yeah.
Yes, if you would like to help support LOTRO Players, simply go to the donations page where you could help support the podcast on LOTRO Players and also help support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one or all of our active podcasts for an episode depending on the amount. And if you are not in the mood for helping a podcast but would rather help sick children, then you could go to the LOTRO Players Extra Life page and donate there.
Or do both. Because why
Or
not?
do both, of course, if you can.
Support both,
Would be best.
and you'll sleep like a babe. And then you'll wake up and the pie fairy will come. And you don't believe me? Try it.
You gotta try to find out.
All right, very well. And this week,
So out of curiosity, do you guys mention the people who donate?
Yep. When they donate,
for
we'll
$5, you get a mention on the podcast of your choice. For $10 or more, you get a mention on all of our active podcasts.
Okay, donation incoming.
We
It's
would,
announced.
we just donated $10, so I think you guys should mention us. 'Cause
Yeah.
we are those people. We're like, we're on the show, and we want you to talk about us.
See, it's
so.
okay because if I had done something like that in the middle of, which I did all the time in the middle of CSTM, she'd be like, "Really? Why didn't you tell me you were going to do that? Or why didn't you read that before? Or why didn't you?" Like, why are you doing it in the middle of the show? I'm like, I don't know. It seemed like a good idea,
Yeah, it's
so I'll
okay.
do it.
You did look at me for confirmation before hitting the button.
Yes,
That
I
was-
did.
That was something new.
All right, very well. We'll probably have a mention next week's episode. And for our feedback, we don't have any reviews, but we would, of course, love to hear any of your reviews over at iTunes or some similar review site. But we do have some featured comments, and we'll begin with Goblin's Bane. And Sithrith, could you please read Goblin's Bane's response to the poll?
Am I still paying for being gone for like a month?
You are.
Okay, so Goblin's Bane says, it was in the Third Age for sure. Wait, what is this about? Oh, the poll, right. Okay, so it was in the Third Age for sure, soon before the start of the War of the Ring. I woke up in some prison cell with amnesia, still do not remember anything from my earlier life. Probably I was beaten hard by black wolves, and this is why I remember nothing. And I think that I would die in that cell if not King Elisar, then no one knew he will be a king, who had freed me. Yes, men, that's not a lie. You can go to Minas Tirith and ask him. I was rescued by King Elisar personally, and later, oh man, so much fighting. What?
Basically, they're talking about the introduction and how they were rescued by Aragorn there in the introduction.
Well, yeah, obviously then it was after free-to-play, since before free-to-play, it would have been... it would not have been Aragorn.
I think it was even a little bit after free-to-play that they introduced Aragorn into the intro.
It was.
I think it was still just Amdir for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. All right,
I
then
haven't
we'll
made a
go...
new character in forever, so I have no idea what's going on.
Not doing it until the Bjorn link comes out.
Well, in any case, you play a Hobbit, so therefore, back when you were creating Golden Star, you would have been going to the postal service in order to start the game.
Yep.
You don't start in a post office anymore.
What?
Cue the
Nope.
pine leaf logic.
No, you don't start in it. So because of that, we're going to the emails now.
What?
You know, the
Because
whole
Pine
postal
Leaf
service.
Logic.
Because
I am
segue.
a Hobbit starting my quest to the post office.
All right. Very well. And Mary Rose Morningstar has sent us an origin story. And Etheros, could you please read the origin story?
All right.
You're so enthusiastic.
Yeah. There was once a lad named Terry. He traveled far and wide to find the perfect coffee. He landed in Australia by accident. God help him. But all was,
Wow.
but
There
all
goes
was not
those
lost.
Australian listeners.
Yep. But all was not lost as he met a nice lady named Miss. They went for a walk and another walk. In fact, they went on many walks together. In time, they had a daughter who also loved to go on walks. Her name was Mystery. One day, she went on a walk for so long, she left down under to land over hill in Middle Earth. If asked what she did there, she'd say, "Oh, a little of this and a little of that." Oh. What she meant was that she shopped for houses or played chicken hockey. Everything went well until she went to market and met a coffee vendor named Rolf. He sniffed the coffee grounds that smelled divine and tried to place an order. "Oh, I am so sorry," he said. "This is my last batch and I must deliver it to Lobelia Sackville Baggins. I'll get more for you and have it here next week." Feeling a bit disappointed at that, Mystery went for another long walk. Along the way, she inadvertently offended another person in town named Draculetta and wreaked havoc in epic battle proportion. They were so intent, they didn't notice the orcs that were about to clobber them. Out of nowhere came Pineleaf to save the day. He told them, "You must skirmish responsibly."
And then stabbed him in the neck.
Went on to another skirmish while Draculetta and Mystery made up. Mystery thought back to the coffee she desperately wanted, but wherever she traveled, the coffee didn't smell as wonderful as that batch back home in the Shire. She dejectedly walked home, whereupon she discovered she had mail. Rolf had uncovered an extra batch of coffee he had misplaced and mailed it. Mystery thereupon declared, "It's all good." That was submitted by Mary Rose Morningstar.
That
All
was
right.
funny, yeah.
I like it.
So that's the mystery walkabout then.
Sounds like
yeah,
it.
but I'm still waiting for the coffee in the mail from Rolf.
Ah,
It'll be there.
you haven't finished your walkabout then.
No, I must be going on another one very soon.
Aren't you supposed to beat yourself in the end when you do a walkabout?
I'm not going down that road.
Oh, you're not going down that road. Okay.
No, it's another road I'm taking.
Okay. Very well. You can contact us through email at podcast@lotroplayers.com. Yes, that is a new email address. So I'll repeat, podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Lotro Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Andang at PVMP_Andang, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, Sithrith at Sithrith, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Etheros at Etheros, Lily Kate at Lily Kate Buggins, Mystery at Mystery XOX, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, and you could follow our guests at Stroll to Mordor. Is it still Stroll to Mordor, or did you change that?
No, we're lazy.
It's still Stroll Mortar.
That's how
All
lazy we are.
And you could join us live for Lotro Players News each week and on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is United States Eastern Time or server time at
Also known as
Lotro
the
Players.
best time.
And that's at lotroplayers.com/live. And you can also join us at Langeville for Lotro Players Adventures each Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That is no longer being broadcast live, but we will post the adventures each week on Lotro Players. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and so long. This is Pineleaf Needles, and remember to skirmish responsibly.